my YouTube. Beautiful backdrop of Sunny Isles Beach.
Yeah, did we create or you create a special channel for this so that we have a
Well, I
combined
have
channel?
I'm thinking. So I already had a videos kind of pixely. Definitely like a little bit of video. I started with my dear friend Crystal from Dallas podcast called Investor Corner. So it already has a podcast feed, it already has some episodes, and little playlist on my YouTube channel. So I think maybe we'll just utilize that. Utilize the podcast.
All right, look at that background.
Yeah, you can get out of there.
That's a live background right there, baby. Yours is pixelating a bit, not mine. I'm on the local network, by the way. It's actually behaving, it looks like. All right, so that could be why. So let's see if we can get you on the Marina Del Mar network, right?
Disconnected.
Well, again, we're going to test until we know we have this 100% correct anyway. Should be able to switch networks, and it should be able just to fill over. Testing. How are you? What's going on? What's up? How you doing? Right? You got me? Can you hear me? I still see you sitting down, by the way. It hasn't even processed you leaving yet. Hey, pal, come here. I'm sending you the password for this. So you can get on the network. Network's behaving, so that's good. I might be able to help you charge your phone. It's Marina Del Mar, right? Or Marina Residence. Well, wait a minute. Las Marinas Residence, right? Yeah. And I just sent you the password. It's a capital. We love it here. Capital W. It's capital W. Yeah. Here. Yep. Huh? I'm making sure, right? Because we don't want to, you know what? I expect in the next first 10 episodes, we're going to have quirks, we're going to have some issues, but then it's just going to be this, every Thursday, we're just going to bang one out. It's not going to take 2 hours. It's going to take an hour and a half, then maybe down to an hour because we'll just get it perfect the right first time, Really, I believe that. I also know that you happen to love
Okay. Now we're back again. I'm on the left side, though. See?
Huh?
We're live. My video's coming in clean. Yours seems pixely, but
am I pixely? Really? I'm not seeing it.
And do me a favor, let me see your phone. Can you open it and put it on YouTube?
Yeah, sure.
See how we're sounding.
There, I'm on YouTube. Try not to click any buttons or you'll lock yourself out.
On TV. Yeah, there we go. We're live.
Try not to click any buttons or you'll lock yourself out.
See, your video is a little bit off. But, it is what it is.
I'm not seeing it here, pal.
But the sound sounds great. Yeah, it's fine.
It's all right. I don't really care about my video that much.
But we're good. So we know the laptop, with the iPad, you get a little bit of video lag.
Yeah, I'm wondering what's causing that. I mean, this is an M4. It's not like an old system,
It's kind of, it is
Not to mention we're both connected to the same network, right?
But all right, do you want to get started? Let's do it. Let's do it. We're live. We're live on YouTube. We're live on Facebook. Episode 2.5, I would say. Episode 2.5 of Investors Corner, the Unnamed Podcast, whatever you want to call it. It's still unnamed. I mean, what I was saying.
Unnamed
was,
still, yes.
I did have a podcast with my dear friend Crystal from Dallas, and it's already got a podcast feed on Apple Music, on all the different podcast platforms, and has a little playlist on my YouTube already. So you could kind of co-brand it as the Investors Corner podcast, and then also use the Unnamed. So we can discuss that further if we wanted to, but hey, we're going to be talking about investors. I think we're going to be more broad topics, but investors corner isn't a bad thing. We got the haram out.
Pop a bottle of haram here.
We're ready to go. So
yep. Hey man, this is what the tropics is all about. It's the lifestyle, you know. The lifestyle is like a Honda. It sells itself, you know. You and I can sit out here, getting paid, you know, help people acclimate, you know, move to this environment. I love it. You know, me, both on the real estate as well as the mortgage side, and financial advisor. You know, got a great firm behind me for that. If you're interested in wealth management. Oh, another thing. I mean, you know, when somebody moves from out of county, let alone out of state, if they're on Medicare, we got to switch them to a new Medicare plan. They can't keep their plan from zip code to zip code.
I mean, state to state, it definitely changes. Even though it's a federal plan, you still need to.
It's by county.
Is it county?
Yeah, I think it's county. But anyway, this is what they were telling me in one of my more recent trainings, and I didn't know that. You know, I've had my license over a year, almost 2, and that I wasn't aware of it. I'm like, well, that's a selling point, you know, and I can just hand somebody a QR code and they can get themselves signed up right away, and boom, you know. Now I'm your insurer as well as your real estate and possibly lending advisor. You know.
Well, you know, look, this episode we wanted to really give you some meat and bones about what the market that we're seeing in South Florida, the market that we play in, the beautiful backdrop that we're in today. Really want to focus today in our market. Get an understanding of what the real estate market looks like, what we're seeing, what it's been, what our clients are talking about, or what they're looking to invest in. So I wanted to start there. You know, look, last year we took a strong turn into a buyer's market. I think that's across the board, across the board.
It was, but we're in a balanced market now for single-family homes. We're still, and this is all 3 counties I'm saying, because I check these stats at the end of every month. We get and I post them, by the way, on Instagram, on Miami Beach Broker. I post all the results from the Miami Association of Realtors. I retweet, whatever, repost those. But we are in a stable market, balanced market for single-family homes. In condos, it's still a buyer's market because there still is a tremendous supply. However, supply in all 3 counties for condos and single-family homes did take a dip, both in January and February, year over year. Sales volumes up year over year by like 17 to 25%. Like there was a boost. So this has been a pretty active winter. I know there's a lot of doom and gloomers and everybody's expecting a 2008 financial crisis. Let me tell you something. We have a financial crisis. It's not happening the same way because you still have so many owners, so many people sitting on a lot of equity in their home. That equity ain't going away so fast, okay? And even with AI allegedly claiming jobs left and right, that still hasn't materialized in the unemployment numbers, okay? There's that.
Look, I mean, there is a rise in foreclosures. There is people that are affordability is an issue.
Well, you can say it's 3 times what it was, but we went from literally 0.75% of all transactions to 2%, right? Yeah. Of all transactions. So yeah, there's some weak holders. There's people that stretched. They went too far. They bought too much house too soon, probably because they had a schmuck for a realtor who pushed them into something. Oh no, it'll be fine. If you ever hear a realtor tell you date the rate, marry the asset, run, don't walk, okay? Because they were all predicting lower rates. You'll be able to refinance in 6 months or a year. Has that materialized? Don't listen to those schmucks, okay? I always tell people, like I had a barcode mixer, my friend Ray, okay? We became friends. In November of 2021, I took him shopping. And I told him, I said, look, we're not, he was approved for over $500,000. I said, no. We're going to buy your investment property first, and we're going to be looking in the threes. Okay, is what, because I knew, I said, watch, interest rates are going to skyrocket. I don't want you and your wife stretching to afford a place. Why don't you get into a place that you really like, in a location you really love, that you can later rent out really profitably? Let's start there. And he'll tell you on his interview with me, there were three of us, but he was interviewing me, and he tells his colleague, it was like Chris had a crystal ball. No sooner did I close, interest rates skyrocketed.
No, I mean, look, there is a lot of those folks in the market, or not in the market, but that bought in that time frame, that have those low rates, and that's what caused the logjam, right? I mean, they didn't want to. They were locked in those rates. If they were to sell, then buy another place to live, and they're going up to a 7% rate. And so, and the people that were coming into the market, it was a lot less of them that were buying because of those high rates. So it was a real logjam of last year. I think you're right. There is a little bit of a softening. I mean, we're looking at high sixes now. You can even do with a perfect. What's the kind of federal rate right now in the mortgage? Perfect. Let's say perfect credit.
We're at about 6.1. But again, what I'm saying though is that I would expect, and there's many theses out there, right? Theses. Mine is we're going to see rates go up before we see them go down again, but it won't be long. I think that ultimately rates are going to go down into the low fives, high fours. I do believe that that's going to happen. I think it's going to take 12 months. I think with the economic system is being changed. People don't realize how fundamental. How fundamentally the system's being changed by the president and his administration and the incoming Fed chair, okay, to change things. You've always seen these things end the Fed, et cetera. Well, we're not going to be as Fed-based. We're going to be more U.S. Treasury-based, which, by the way, is the pathway to actually enforcing and maintaining balanced budget and fiscal sanity in the future. So love him or hate him, we're actually going back to what is known widely as the American monetary system, not the old imperial debt-based system. Okay, the Federal Reserve put us back on that system. That's when we started getting off the gold standard and everything else. A lot of people don't know, but we're going back to the system that Hamilton originally envisioned.
The rates affect a lot of things, right? I mean, but what we've seen is consistently there's always a demand for the South Florida market. What asset class do you see? I mean, I've seen a lot in pre-construction. We're seeing a lot of movement in big companies and big tech CEOs moving here. That continued migration from California to Florida. But from an asset class standpoint, from an investable product, where do you see the best placement of money from a real estate asset class standpoint?
Okay, well, from the human beings, okay, of the world, the people that are, average working Joes that want to invest some money in real estate, which is the most of us, right? In the pyramid of things, that's your middle class, upper middle class, even the lower classes can do it, right? And I'll get into that in a second. But the fact is you're looking at duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes. That is the greatest way into the world of wealth building is via that FHA mortgage, because you can have a 580 credit score, okay, and still finance up to 96.5% of $1 million fourplex. Okay.
Yeah, and I say this a lot. That's a really good point. Like, people underestimate how valuable and powerful the FHA aspect of your first kind of multifamily, how FHA can be a vehicle into real estate investing if you leverage it right from the beginning. Because like you said, an FHA mortgage, it allows you to get up to 4 units, right? You have a minimum down payment of at least 3%, right? And like you said, the qualification is only 580. So if you're entering your first real estate purchase period, and you want to get into real estate investing, but even if not, just building yourself up a foundation to invest later. You get into, like, let's say a duplex, you live in one, you rent out the other. Ideally, if the numbers work, that renter that's renting out the other unit is paying off your down payment your mortgage on that duplex. And then you rinse and repeat, right? You take out some equity, you move into a bigger unit, but people underestimate or just don't have enough knowledge around leveraging that type of FHA product, getting into real estate in these multifamily or small multifamily units, up to 4, I think it is with FHA, and what that could really create as your starting point in investing.
It's not just knowledge. It's also discipline, right? A lot of people lack the discipline to save the right amount of money because, well, it sounds great. Oh, only 3.5% down. Your closing costs are going to be another 3%, and you actually have to. And that's an estimate, by the way, but it's going to be 2 to 3.5%. Could be even higher, depending on how crappy your mortgage and just how many shimmies your mortgage broker has to make this work, right? But the fact is that you're looking at about 3 points that you're going to have to put down with that down payment. So in reality, you're coughing up about 6.5%, okay, of the purchase price. Now, this is where I come in with the financial advisor's license, okay?
Bill against, I'm going to have to take fees.
Obviously, if I have nothing to bill against, I'm going to have to take fees instead of, let's say, managing your portfolio at, let's say, 0.75%, you know, because you don't have a portfolio. But you want to build a portfolio? Come take a consultation with me. You know, you're going to pay, for people that make under $100,000, I'm happy to give you at $100 an hour just to have that discussion. It's actually 45 minutes because I do break the things into 45-minute time periods. But we got to get you disciplined. And I can show you a path forward. Whether you stick to it or not is completely you. But you have to start normalizing the savings. You got to make it automatic, and you got to be able to put it into. Don't leave money in cash. You're working against yourself. You need something that's growing. So we can look at a number of different vehicles that are good for your particular risk tolerance. So I am a financial advisor, but I'm not your financial advisor, and I am not giving you anywhere in this episode financial advice.
People just think it's just a 3% down payment, but there's closing costs, there's docket stamp fees, those things that are needed that you have to plan for when you set the path. Okay, so now we've identified the asset, probably the best asset, real estate asset to invest in. Let's talk about areas in South Florida, right? Where you're seeing where these assets exist, there are opportunities, whether they're developing areas, where are the pockets of South Florida where these small to medium-sized multifamily exist? Let's say, let's take it back to someone starting with an FHA mortgage. Where in South Florida would you look to find these assets to invest?
I like fringe areas. I think that, you know, why overpay? You're going to have a lot of trouble making, because there's that South Florida premium, right? Everybody's charging more than, let's say, your 1% rule. And by 1% rule, I'm talking about usually, and it used to be a 2% rule. And what I mean by this is that an investor would look at, is my gross every month equal to 1%/2% of my purchase price for this asset? This is how you know whether or not, it's like a really nice, easy litmus test. Does this work? And in most cases, you're going to find that this is not the case. You're a little off. Now, especially in South Florida, right? In most cases, in Southeast Florida, this will be a problem. And even when it's actually at or better than this 1% situation, now I want to start looking for the hair. Are there violations? You know, that you're going to have, the city might have $1 million violation, which you can probably buy the property twice for, right? You have no idea. That doesn't mean those things can't be negotiated down and dismissed. There's actual specialists for this type of deal. You know, there are investors that have honed their skills to work with the city and get it done. You know, there may be other things. Maybe there's an outstanding water bill on the property. Maybe it had a fire, and now you're going to have to do a lot of rehab. You got to work that into your numbers, because it's your all-in cost is what you're interested in. And can you get 1%, and including your closing costs at the end of the day?
So what areas?
Right?
So I mean, is there your fringe areas that you're looking? You said some fringe areas.
I would look in right now in Miami-Dade County. Okay. In Miami-Dade County, Opa-locka, Brownsville, Liberty City. Okay. Because especially the closer you are to Miami Gardens, the better, because they've been annexing parts of Opa-locka, which is basically a failed city.
Yeah, I'm surprised you said Opa-locka.
All the corruption and missing money and nonsense that goes on in Opa-locka is crazy, right? So honestly, if there's a good chance, just by you being annexed by Miami Gardens, automatically the property values, right? In addition, Broward County, I love the I-95 corridor, both east and west, immediately of I-95. Great spots to find these. Roosevelt Gardens, Riverside Park, right? And then you can go up to West Palm Beach, the North Strip off of Broadway, you know? But not, again, right now, I think that if you don't want to be in Mangonia Gardens buying there, you got to be buying either east or west of those. That's just that area is an ongoing issue with respect to crime, and I think there's been a lot of mismanagement of that area. In terms of real estate, I would hesitate.
And I think I agree with some of those. I mean, I didn't know about the annexing of Miami Gardens, but it's a very strategic point. Like if you hear in the news or this is insider strategic investors invest in land and real estate. They look at the development is coming. They look at and get tapped into what the city is doing, what the big development area is doing, what the city commissioners have.
Where the puck is going. Skate to where it's going, not where it is.
Are working on what are their initiatives, what are their goals. Right, so if you can align with that in the market that you're looking at, you can find pockets of areas where you have to foresee the future. You have to have that vision of where things are and make that smart bet. And those are ways, like Chris mentioned, understanding that Miami Gardens is going through development. They have a strategic development plan. They're annexing basically taking over areas in cities like Oaxaca, putting under that Miami-Dade County and Miami Gardens City banner. Knowing that, you're more of a strategic investor, right? And so I agree with that. I didn't know about the Miami Gardens area.
Yeah, no, and that's what Hollywood originally did too. Hollywood incorporated and annexed a lot of Miami-Dade County back in the day, right? Unincorporated Miami-Dade County. So, this is a thing. And you want to be in the path. Like I said, just look where the puck is going, not where it is. Right. If you're going to invest where it is, get ready to pay a premium.
Exactly. And that's what I was going to say is that's where you'll get the deal. You'll take advantage of inexperienced investors or people that are holding property that don't really know the value. And like I said, beat the market there. I agree with those areas. I do like Hollywood.
Yeah, I agree with those areas. I do like Hollywood.
Hollywood has been hot just because a lot of the land parcels, they're zoned for multiple units. And so they're attracting builders that want to knock down those older buildings, single-family homes, and they're actually already zoned for multi-family units, without doing all the zoning before, after the fact. So Hollywood's one. An area like you said, Pompano has done a lot of development.
I gotta tell you,
you said Pompano, you didn't want to go there. But to think that Pompano has 70 million plus city of Pompano,
go to Old Town. Go to Old Town in Pompano. See what I'm talking about. It's been built out. I told people about this over 10 years ago. And the city was planning 10 years ago. They were vocal about their whole downtown redesign. And yes, it took them 2 to 3 times longer than that project should have ever gotten done. But they did it nonetheless. And Pompano is becoming beautiful. Yes, it still has some areas. But I will tell you, you've got a hell of a lot less crime. I used to live there in Palm Air. It was like this oasis in the ghetto. 5 golf courses in the center of one of the worst areas in all of Florida, right? And now, you drive up and down the streets, you really don't see crackheads, the prostitutes, the drug dealers like you used to. They were on every corner at one point.
Who'd have thunk it, like you said, if we were, who'd have thought that we would be talking about Opa-locka and Pompano as a great investment opportunity? That's what it is. You gotta look where the things are evolving, with gentrifying, so to say.
Yep.
Also, going into that specific assets itself. Specific assets itself. So in these pockets, the deals are going to be, it's not going to be new duplexes, so big triplexes, big quadplexes, population. Those should be great. What you want to look at is the older units, the that we build that may need a little bit of work, hopefully not for big capital investments. But if you're willing to do some of that work, but you can come in, they're also probably lower market rents, and you're going to come in, we're going to build them.
I've been disconnected.
Value that, and usually you're able to.
Yeah, I think we should get into the habit of doing 30 minutes and then looking at it rather than doing a whole podcast and then finding out that we had a lot of problems. We're going to need to review these last 10 minutes because I think we were on a really good path and then the interruption started.
And also, I'm doing it live. I'm doing streaming. I got to off the live.
could just record it and then,
Yeah, no, again, I'm thinking about buying that fucking device so that you and I can literally just go anywhere. It's $1,000, but we can literally go anywhere with as many cameras as we want and film the whole thing, soup to nuts, and then just post it. That's what I'm thinking about doing because I'm getting really annoyed by this. You know, like I'm just gonna be like, you know what? Is it really worth redoing things? How valuable is my time?
Yeah.
You know, and your time is
Yeah,
really
we're back.
valuable. Look at you.
Yeah, we're back. So, no, it's fun. But it is what it is. I mean, again, I'll get this will get recorded, so we'll
Yeah, we're
have a
outside.
copy.
Yeah, we're outside. We're on a Wi-Fi from a building, so it's a public access thing.
But
we did try the
yeah, it's still
hotspot.
going. So no,
But
but
it was
look,
getting a
like
little
you know,
granular, you know?
what value is the asset itself. You know, it's very important to understand. Look, you know, the value is, you know, when you go in there and you find something that is a little bit older, that may have market rents that are a little bit lower, that you can come in, do a little bit of improvements, up the rents, and that's value add, right? Those are the properties you want to look at.
Yeah, no, I would do a shout. I would do a shout out to Ben Mallet. Okay, this is a guy with not even a high school education. Okay, and he grew up literally next to a garbage dump in Rockaway, New York. Okay, which is in Long Island. Okay, and he now is worth $500 million. Okay, like he's worth $1 billion. He has $1 billion worth of real estate, but he owes $500 million. But nonetheless, his net worth is $500 million. Right, last check anyway. He's on YouTube. And he literally talks, and he's a giant, nice guy, but a little rough around the edge sort of dude. And he will tell you the best thing you can do for yourself if you want to be in the investment space, even if you got virtually no money at the moment. You get yourself a mortgage broker, get yourself a real estate guy. We work on commissions only. You know, I'm both, right? I have a financial advisor's license. I have a team behind me where you have additional mortgage licensees, additional securities guys, and additional real estate people. So you're actually getting a lot of people, an executive staff, if you will, to help you, right? That is the value of getting Anil and myself. Anil and I work together. He's part of my team. I am part of his team, you know? And together we are able to help people get started. But unless you reach out and say, hey, listen, I really want to get started. How do I do it? And have that consultation, you know, you're just going to be sitting and dreaming. You know, and all this information that we give you is, if you don't apply it, it's worthless.
No, look, I'll second that. I mean, Ben Mal is a great example. You know, he definitely did. Ben Mal.
He started from zero.
Talks a lot about value add. Talks a lot about, you know, now he's in big multifamily, but he started with just. He started with.
I know, right?
Started with crack houses in Oakland.
He did.
Right?
He would turn
So
2 bedrooms into 3 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms into 4 bedrooms. Like he was rigging his home so that he could get better financing deals and
You gotta
everything.
get creative. You have to do these type of things. Those are the people that win. You know, are the people that get creative. Now I'll give you some examples. Like in this market, and you, I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this because you know now it's getting a little bit controversial. But
Now it's
over
getting a
the
little
last
bit
few years,
controversial. But over the
because
last
of
few
how
years,
the high interest rates and people locked in the log jam that we talked about, there's
there's
been a big rise in
There's been a
creative
big rise
finance,
in
but
creative finance, but specifically
I don't. Hold
I don't
on.
touch that stuff.
So
I tell
and
people
you know,
avoid it.
You actually were right because a lot of things are coming
You're
back.
actually right,
But
a lot of
people
things
that don't know what
are coming
subject
back.
to
But
is
people that don't know what
it's
subject to
basically
is
when someone will come in and they will take over the deed of the property. Okay, but the more and basically say, hey, I'll take over your mortgage payment, right? Without not assuming the mortgage, taking the deed in lieu of paying an agreement of they'll pay the mortgage payment, but the mortgage still stays in the seller's. A lot of times people that are distressed, meaning they want to get out of it, or they can't, they're about to be in pre-foreclosure. These investors will come in, and a lot of times they'll also make the numbers work in the last low interest rates, and so multiple years ago, finding these types of saying, hey, look,
small down payment.
We will take over, not assume the loan, but we'll make your monthly payments to the mortgage company or the bank, but you hand over the deed. Now, it did create a great way for investors to get at the property, obviously. A lot of it is a way for the seller to get out of it, but creating a risk for the owner is they're still tied to that mortgage.
Right, but I don't see. This is I'm not a lawyer, right? But I do mortgages, and I will tell you, there's a due on sale clause in
Correct.
every single mortgage. So unless the mortgage people have approved this little arrangement, they can call that mortgage and you're going to have to pay up all that money right away. They're going to take back the house and it's not going to matter who has the deed, right?
And that's,
so
that's a lot of things that were happening. There's two things that were happening. Now, there's been two years of this happening, right? Because of just the real estate market and the environment. And so what we've seen and what I've read now about is stories of, like you said, the mortgage. You're not telling the mortgage company.
You're not telling.
You're due on sale.
Telling the mortgage company that this is happening. And
That's
so what happens,
kind of fraud,
is,
right?
You're right. They can call the loan right away.
But I remember, especially if it's a federal mortgage, you're dancing with the wrong people in this, you know, and you're walking. I'm not even sure it's a fine line. Again, I'm not a lawyer, but in my view, you're acting fraudulently.
And sellers would agree to now. There is opportunities to do it the right way where you assume the mortgage. There's mortgages that are assumable. That's the right way to do it. But going back to it,
I got you.
Like you said, the bank, they find out that this is happening, and in their mortgage kind of fine print, they can call the loan whenever, anytime. And so that causes the default and gets the left in the bag. Not that investor that came in and pay a mortgage. Or secondly,
yeah, you're taking a big risk.
That acquired almost 100 different homes across Florida via this subject to method and stop paying the bank. Right? And so now they're, of course, they're getting indicted and all this stuff happening, but these owners are left the bag. And look, there's a big community out there with subject to Warby, lives and dies by this. There's a lot of subject to Warby, but I think there is like we find out.
Hey, if it works for them and they're not doing anything illegal, whatever. Listen, I'm a pretty smart guy. I don't see how this doesn't violate something. I just don't. And maybe who knows? Maybe I'm overthinking it. But I'll tell you right now, my customer/client's well-being is more important than anything else. I have no desire to see them in any kind of financial pain, and I think that risks that, right? And so I'll just say, leave it alone. That is not in the wheelhouse. They're not. When you take your mortgage licensing, they don't teach you this. Right? Why do they not teach you this? Because it's not in the wheelhouse. It's not one of the tools we have available to us. It isn't. Now, if you want to act privately and you want to take those risks, I would consult an attorney first, especially a really good real estate attorney, before you ever consider, if you own a house and you're thinking about taking a subject to deal. But I will tell you this, subject to deals, when people have considered them and they said, Chris, listen, I think I'm going to do this anyway. I'm like, look, all hands off. I'm sending you an email that says no. However, when you do, get the attorney, but also make sure that you're getting as if it was seller financing, you're getting a monster down payment. Okay, so if it's a $400,000 house, if you're taking less than $100,000, you're crazy.
Yeah, that is a risk, and like I said, like the environment, the real estate environment, led to that. And you're right. I mean, you're getting creative, and also there was a big rise in seller financing as well. When you get into deals and you look at an investor who put out property, had an investor who was working with last year, that's all they were doing. They were doing property via seller finance, and with seller finance, this is basically, instead of going traditional financing, they work out a deal with the seller to acquire the property on payment. Like you mentioned, then there's a lot of negotiating terms there too. You negotiate how much the down payment. Like you said, the seller usually wants a big down payment, and then you negotiate the term of the deal, how long, set payments, set amounts, interest rate, sometimes amortized. You can even negotiate balloon payments after 5-10 years or whatever. So what I'm getting was, my point is that there is, when in these environments we get deals done, there is avenues, and like you said, do it the right way. There is avenues to get creative, whether it's in financing design and acquisition, or like you mentioned with taking a building that's duplex or building it out the right way with building, adding a bedroom that creates your creates your additional, rent or like.
I'm not sure he would swear that he used permits the first time around.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
he did what he had to do to increase value, increase
The
rent,
key
so that he can
word
get
is
started.
value add. When you're looking at these deals.
Look, as long as you're not creating a fire hazard, a dangerous circumstance for your tenants, all right, hey, listen, we all got to get started somewhere. But as a realtor, I just tell people, look, this is not a legal duplex. After you buy it, you do you. I'm not the police. I'm not the real estate police. That's not our job.
For a while, but one, like you said, there's a liability if you don't do it right. If you don't pull the permits and add another room, or you don't take the time to convert it legally, you may get away with it for a while. You may collect it for a while. I see a lot of these listings. Duplexes, but they're acting like fourplexes, right? And it becomes an issue when you're selling. Because one, it's not illegal to do. But number two is any type of finance is not going to pass inspection. And so a lot of those deals have to eventually pass. It leaves them by liability, obviously. It could really hurt you when they're going to sell. So I say do value add, but do it the right way. And so, like I said, don't break the law.
Yeah, well, I'm having some haram. More haram.
I think, give me the next three. Give me the next.
Hey, gorgeous, how are you?
Going with the rates, anything like that.
Podcast. We're doing a podcast. Yeah. Yeah, special guest. Delia. Want to get on camera or no? You're camera shy? What? You're beautiful. What are you talking about? Oh, come on. We'll get like 100,000 more views with you on it.
How you doing?
Damn, you're looking gorgeous. This is the lifestyle we're just in. Yeah, this is the lifestyle that we are living,
My day off tomorrow, back to work.
Oh, yeah? Oh.
What kind of work you do?
Yeah, she's fantastic. We've known each other for years. She's out here, we hang out. How's everything going? Everything good?
Yes, it was my birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
21.
It's legal to
And
do
hold
now.
I
I like live Sunny Isles. I love Sunny Isles.
Thank you. Nobody's bothering me.
Do you want some haram? Oh, that's right. You gave it up. I forgot about that. Good for you.
For now. I'm waiting up to this.
I'm about to start a hiatus after my birthday. Yeah, I got to do this whole branding thing and everything. We can clip it out.
I mean, look, let's talk about that. I mean, drinking, what it costs and why is it
I have. Yeah, no, well, it does affect our performance, and you're seeing now more and more online. They have all these services where they're, hey, you're not an alcoholic, but it is affecting your ability as an executive, as this edge. It's dulling your edge. And you know what? When you're in your 50s especially, it fucking hurts.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're not in our 20s anymore, right?
Much harder. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's not as bad as before.
So I am going to, because I'm putting a lot of money behind the branding and all that, I'm doing a whole new marketing shtick. I'll see you later, love. I have decided that I'm going to go on a long hiatus.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing. I mean,
I know you go.
Yeah, listen, you gotta love Sunny Isles. You gotta love
right?
South Florida.
I know we couldn't put her on camera, but Delia's.
That's the beautifuln's of South Florida. That's what I missed,
Well,
the girls, women, the lifestyle. There's nothing like it, right? That's why this migration's coming in. I think that's why this market will always endure. Right, it's just too much of a lifestyle, too much of favorable policies for business, taxes.
The eyes, look, that was just beautiful eye candy. You see it everywhere down here, Like, I mean, who the hell doesn't want that? Oh, ladies, there's plenty of hot guys. I can see you out in front of El Tropico, the restaurant I hang out in a lot. And the guys that come out of that fitness place, I mean, you might be thinking about, hey, maybe it's time for a divorce.
South Florida, specifically Miami, beautiful people. Look, it's a culture, it's a society down here that is all about that. Is staying in shape and being beautiful. I mean, it's plastic surgery as well, but that's what the culture is down here. That's what the lifestyle is down here. That's what the culture is down here. I've always liked about South Florida is that it has a mix of both. It's got the vibrant, young,
it has a mix of both. It's got the vibrant, young, the youthful.
But it also
it's very international. But it is also the retirement capital too.
Yeah, but it's my
and
slogan:
so,
live
we
vibrantly.
have that
You know.
mix of kind of melting pot down here that attracts so many. It's
here
always
that-
going to attract
that attracts so
people.
many.
And that's
It's
why
always
I
gonna
love
attract
the
people.
Florida market.
That's
I'm
why
so
I love
distracted
the
right now.
Florida market. I'm so distracted right
I
now.
don't see the hot girls dancing, right?
I think that's why it's an enduring. It will always be an enduring market. It always have an attraction, and the numbers show that. You know what I mean? Now,
And the numbers show
has it
that.
had
You know, now,
collapses? But
has it had collapses? But
it was the same
it has.
time that
But
the rest
it
of
was
the
the same
country was,
time that the rest of the country
those
was.
cycles in real
So
estate are
those
always gonna happen.
cycles in real estate are
Well, there's a bigger cycle because the fact is that they're increasing taxes in these states despite the flee. So they're doubling down on stupidity. These other states, and so naturally people are fleeing the communism of the North and the West and the governors who must not be named.
It's favorable
And that's just what's
policies as
happening.
well. Definitely. When you create an environment with no income tax, you attract
no
business.
income tax.
You attract people
You
with high
attract
net worth that want to
people with high
protect
net
their
worth
income
that want to
taxes,
protect
right?
their
Number two,
income taxes.
we are
Number two, we're
putting it officially on the ballot
putting it
to
officially
release
on the ballot
to banish property
to
taxes.
banish
for
property
homeowners.
taxes.
At least for homeowners, for
That's a
primary
start. That's a big
homeowners,
deal. So
homesteaders,
Florida,
right?
the combination of Florida having no income tax or no property tax, that will ignite the housing market down here, right? And so, so it's also like you mentioned, the leadership and favorable policies being put in place to drive that market. I think Florida's done a great job with
Drive
that,
that market.
and Florida's done a great job. I believe continue to be.
We've been great financial stewards. We got a balance surplus, and we have billions.
And
Have billions and billions of dollars in reserves in this state, and we have a population greater than that of New York. And meanwhile, the state budget is half that of the state of New York. And everyone's like, "Well, you don't get winners." You know what? No, it's because we don't have these insane entitlement programs, okay, that fuel and basically an entire society of handouts. We can't have that. People here have to have a job. And by the way, it is such a pain in the ass to get unemployment here. Not to mention it's like a pittance too. You get like $200 a week. What the hell are you going to do with that?
I think you can't go too heavy on this side, and you can't go too heavy on this side. You got to find a good balance. I think Florida has.
No,
some
I agree
great
with you.
folks.
By the way, I do agree with you. I mean, look, we need to have
Florida
safety
has
nets.
social
I think as society, we need safety
they're
nets.
essential. I think people do need help.
I think they're essential.
Yeah, but they're better managed. They're audited regularly. There's a lot of corruption in these other states. In addition, another thing is we do not sacrifice infrastructure to pay entitlement programs. That is a fact. New York has done that. New York City is a great example of what happens when you just say, "Oh, we can do it another day." Well, that main line can wait. That can wait. That can wait. And meanwhile, they inflate their budget for other purposes. They hire a whole bunch of bureaucrats they don't freaking need. Meanwhile, now bridges are collapsing and stuff. Like.
We need a good balance. We can't go heavy on one side. Just like everything, like an example of California. I mean, look, their income tax. I don't know what doctors are in California. You want to guess what his income tax is?
In California, but probably up to 60%.
Almost 60%.
Yeah.
Add that to San Diego. We think his property tax.
Oh my God, it's got to be they're paying 3% over there.
Who knows what look. So I don't mean that way either, right? So I think you got to find.
Look, I was an independent for a long time.
Going toward homelessness and programs and this. So it's like you got to have a good balance. I don't think
No, I agree with you. You need a balance. Listen, my first election, I voted for Ross Perot. I didn't like either party because I think they're both full of crap, to be honest with you. I really do. The thing is that one party went to, and again, I'm half Cuban. I was raised with certain principles. We fled communism, okay? The socialism is the pursuit of communism. Communism is an ideal state where there's no government, okay? Everyone lives in this community. Right? That's what actual real definition of communism is. We hear this, whether it's done in Spanish or it's said flipped red. It's because people like AOC, et cetera, came down here and started saying the exact same things in English that people like Hugo Chavez, Fidel Castro, et cetera, all said in Spanish. And everyone's like, hell no, we're not voting for that. You disconnected me? I'm still recording, it looks like.
Now we're back. Yeah, it looks like every like 20, 30 minutes it kind of kicks off. But we gotta go. Let's transition out of it. So I want.
Yeah, I know you want to avoid the politics. I love it. Stuff.
I want
No,
to.
listen, you have to have a balance. I really believe that as long as we should always watch the bottom line. At the end of the day, it comes down to the bottom line. Do the people you employ, for instance, whether your realtor, your mortgage person, your financial advisor, are they performing, or are you just paying fees for no reason, right? And you have to reconcile that. I wouldn't do it necessarily every quarter because you can't, you don't know how the market's going to move. But year after year, if you're paying 1% and you're underperforming the market, you might want to fire your financial advisor, whoever it is. Okay. Now, I have never had a year under market, by the way, ever.
And look, and the businesses and the millionaires that you're putting policies to not attack, but that are unfavorable, they will make the move. Right? Try them. I go back to California. They want to go after the billionaires, tax them and all this. They're moving. Okay?
They're coming
here.
They're all here.
Literally, we right now are located just about 2-3 miles from where Bezos and Indian Creek. There's only 3 miles, 4 miles south of here.
Every name you can think of has now moved operations down to Miami. That has to tell you something.
Yeah, that billionaire bunker.
Mark Zuckerberg from Meta that's bought a home here. Moved some operations. You've got Sergey from Google. They have moved here and bought a home.
You should bring this up when you do the video. Do the map of where we are relative to where they all live right now.
We've got Jeff Bezos. Not only bought a home here, has operations opening up. You got Ken from
Citadel, yeah. He's building the largest mansion in all of Florida. It's going to be 50,000 square feet. Up in Palm Beach. It's going to be just right very close to Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah, he's acquiring properties. He's been acquiring on Palm Beach Island for years.
He managed to do it very subtly. He did an amazing job. Kudos to that real estate team. I should say teams and his attorneys that managed to pull that shit off. They've been for a while now. That takes a lot to be able to do that kind of assemblage.
And I think what Florida has done is strategically looked at what's happening in New York, in California, and strategically built these relationships, created this environment to catch these people and to invite them in and give them opportunity to do so. And they're taking it. That's why I give big kudos to that's
why I give big kudos to Florida leadership in putting this environment together. Like they say, you build and they'll come. You put those
where they feel in other places they're getting
where they feel in other places they're getting attacked or they're getting taken advantage of. They won't come, right? Especially groups that have resources like this. And so, and again, going back to what we talked about before, you don't have to. Taking these favorable policies and inviting these businesses and giving them the tax breaks and bringing them right doesn't have to take away from your social services.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. They bring this type of stuff up to create the division so that they can get the votes. Okay. The fact is that you want these businesses coming in because the more taxes that they're paying, the more we can afford to do other things, right? They're like, it's billionaire giveaways. Yeah, but look at what they're paying. Now, would you rather do away with it? Look at how AOC chased Amazon out of doing that deal in her district, right? Yeah, and it's not just Amazon was going to get billions in credits, meaning she took it as, we're going to give billions of dollars to the billionaire company to open up here. No, they were going to get tax credits so they would pay less so that they could compensate them for all the infrastructure they would have to build, right? And another thing that the socialists don't ever seem to see. How about the restaurants and the local bars and the local services, etc., that would have benefited from having 10,000 employees going to work every day in that area? You robbed all of those people of that income and those jobs that would have resulted from those people that needed service. Okay, this is why I can't stand her, and I think she's hashtag stupid.
Yeah, that's what you go to. I mean, look, there could have been a deal done there. Again, it's meeting in the middle. You can't have it all the way on one side.
No, she led this fucking crusade that made no sense, and you know what? The sheeple followed.
Moving on. I mean, look.
moving on.
you know, cycles happen, you know, things happen, geopolitical things happen, we're going into some market cycles. Kind of want to touch base on my other market that I play in, which is overseas. Right? We want to talk about
Which is overseas.
Right, yeah, but before we do, I'm a little passionate about the whole New York thing, by the way, because that's where I'm from. So when I see what's happened, I got to tell you, I take it as a personal affront. You know, I could tell you endless stories about growing up in New York and working and understanding to be at work at, let's say, 7 o'clock in the morning, and you were working till 4. You were there at 6, and you didn't work, and you didn't leave until an hour or two after your time, because there's 1,000 resumes behind you. So you had to work, and you had to take pride in what you did. You know, there was a certain pride that came with being a New Yorker. Now it's all about, oh, let's take care of all these people. Why? What are they producing? What the hell are they doing?
In New York. I'm a New Yorker myself. We can talk about it. There's no other city in the world like it.
There's no other city in the world like
New York, right? And it always had the people there. The hustle mindset.
Right? And it always had the people there.
And I feel like after, what really hurt me was,
and I feel like after, you know what really hurt me was when I saw it during, like, right after COVID.
Empty.
It was
the
just
first time that I saw like the way of
first
life
time
there.
that I saw like the way of life there.
I don't know. It just wasn't. I saw it finally on the. It wears out.
I saw it finally on the. It wears out. I was like, man, these people are just in the rat race. But I think since COVID, we're
just from a perspective standpoint, because I don't think they ever recovered that. And
there is nothing for free. There's nothing for free.
Moving forward, I mean, there's always going to be people that want to acquire New York. I think, but those are prime time ads, right? And those are far between buyer. It's definitely not what
You know, I love how diplomatic you are. I mean, I have a mouthful that I think we can't repeat on YouTube, but you know what? Well, we can continue that for another day. But yeah, listen, I still love New York.
I think you got to meet in the middle. If you don't listen, and that's the problem is we too much on this side, but too much on that side. You're way too much.
Agreed.
Too much on one side.
Right now I am. I started in the center.
I think perspective has to be. We have to be able to sit down and talk things through and understand. But I don't think the powers to be like that. We are in silos. From social media, that if you're whatever you're, that's all you're going to be seeing, and you're going to be working with those people, and that's what's going to be triggered. And then if you're on the left, that's what's going to be in your silo. It's meant to be. I'm always going to be. I don't call it different. I'm always going to be in the middle. I see each perspective. I see each side, and I meet in a common sense. You know, that's both sides will say all the
which means you're basically going to be on the right, because my perspective is that my centrist views got dragged by the left so far on the map that centrist views suddenly became right wing. That is insane. Okay, to be able to call me right wing, and I'm not right wing. I am not a religious person, okay, and I was brought up with 2 faiths, not just one, okay. The fact is that I am literally a live and let live person. For instance, I was okay with gay marriage. I always have been. You know why? Because it is not written in the Constitution that you can't have it. I could care less what it says in the Bible. I don't care what it says in the Quran. I don't care what it says anywhere. Okay.
Well, in this case, to be miserable.
People have a right, well, in this case, to be miserable.
Yeah, right. And again,
if you want to get married,
you're right?
Get married.
So there's something. So, you know, you're okay with the gay marriages and transgender. Okay, give them their rights. Cool. But then they took it even farther where they're teaching it in school.
But then they took it even farther where they're teaching it in school and this and that. So that's where you see a chance where it's like, look, too much on one side is bad, too much on the other side is bad as well. If you have that freedom of policies, it's like you give a little bit, they want to take it off. So both sides.
There's examples of that on both
right,
and that's what I mean by like.
And the reason I think it's important we talk about it.
Right, this and that, but meet in the middle somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Like that's where it is, and that's what boxing's about. Boxing's not about one on the other side.
It's not about one on the other side. It's about meeting in the middle.
Well, again, but what's ended up happening. And again, this happened in New York in 2019. The Democrat supermajority of the state assembly voted in certain legislation which prevented people that were about to escape. These landlords were about to escape the rent control environment. They made all sorts of investments, and then they essentially raised/did away with their ability to do so. And this cut everybody's equity in half because you could no longer escape this insanity of rent control. Okay, fixing the price of bread creates starvation. Fixing the price of housing will create a housing shortage. This has been true since the dawn of time. Okay, now it's because they all vote in line with each other. Republicans constantly disagree. That's one thing I got to give to them. They disagree with each other. They're always at each other's throats, let alone the Democrats. The Democrats vote like a mafia.
I think they're all the same breed. I think they're all the same evil. I think they're all the same funders. I think they're all the same, Illuminati, right? They're all
agreed.
the same.
But would you also agree, though?
Right? They're all whoever lobbies to them. I worked in government affairs too, so the green.
I didn't know that about you.
I used to work for Cox Communications. I was on government affairs meetings, and they were buying senators.
They were buying senators
in Arizona.
I'm sure.
Cable and communications laws passed. So all these guys, red, blue, and they're the same breed. So and that's all it is.
I agree, but
it's differentiators. That's the biggest problem.
That's the biggest problem
is how we have these people that are sitting there for 80 years. They're getting.
Yeah, I don't like that either. But
paid, they have interest that they're paid for. There's lobbyists from all around, from all these different interests that are just in the pockets of our people that are passing the law. So of course, they're going to pass favorable laws to these corporations.
The special interests.
Look what they've done to our food. Okay? Just our food. Out of every country in the world, the things that the United States allow in their food, and they're just rolling that back. You know why that started? Is because people that were paid by people that were
in these chemical companies, food companies, etc.
Now they get into these positions, and they're paid by chemical companies in these big pharma, big corporations. And so, look.
McDonald's French fries in UK literally are potato and salt and I guess the oil that they cook them in, right?
I urge you to go abroad and try the food.
And we have like this chemical formula that's you can find components of what's in the fries and tires
that are literally illegal. If you go to France, if you go to UK,
Singapore, they would kill you.
Why? Okay, so Europe, these countries have had these ingredients illegal for 20 plus years. Why now? 30 years later, they're finally good.
I don't know, poison the Americans. So there's lots of conspiracy theories. But one of the reasons I wanted to talk about politics up front in one of these first episodes of ours is because ultimately politics creates policy, and policy influences your real estate market, your mortgage market, your insurance, your financial advisors are the most heavily regulated people on earth. And frankly, nowadays with ChatGPT, is it even worth it at this point? And that's another subject we got to get into because the bots are smart, but they're not that smart, believe me. Okay.
Well, they're getting smarter.
They are, but they also don't understand humans. Like everyone looks for, what can you give them? You can give them the news and you can give them the chart data, but there's a human factor of looking at what really is valuable to humans, and they will never truly understand that until you can really give them that context. How do you give them that context?
I think they will get it. So let's go to transition to AI. So look, AI's here. It's a technology that how I call it Pandora's box.
Oh yeah, no, you see what I'm doing upstairs with my AI. I have this thing. I started small. I wanted to really refine a handful of things to make it do extremely well, not break. And pardon me. All right, so I built an amazing library. This essentially a GitHub, a repository, if you will, of files, findings, data that my AI now draws from. It understands the coding practices, the architectural practices, everything I wanted to follow. My background is in information technology. So I have it now doing exactly what I want. Now I'm adding piece by piece. Rather than having it try to build Rome in a day, I'm building Rome slowly. And I have it automating more and more of what I'm doing. And this transition, and this is where we can get into AI more, we're moving from Follow Up Boss to Lofty, okay, our team, right? So this time around, I'm not going to load up the 100,000+ contacts or whatever. This time around, I'm focused only on, the last year's worth of leads, let's say, and people that we've been working with me, my assistants, the people that are making calls for me on my behalf. And there's about a good couple thousand of those total. Some people, they're not going to buy or act on anything for another 2 or 3 years. So there's quite a few of those in the pipeline. But I have all of these other contacts, and I need to scrub the data. Obviously, people die. And I need to deduplicate that. It's already been done. And I also need to enrich the data. Okay, well, with the people that have, the only one is to have mailed me at some point in time or been part of an email chain. That is the only way. I do not go and just suck up data for whatever dollar amount. No. And over 20 years, I've accumulated a lot. So the idea is, all right, well, all these people that have mailed me, marketed to me, how do I market back to them? This is the way I'm looking at it, right? And if they're alive, I'm going to find out as much as I can but through my AI, which is now working on free ways that it'll run all night. I have a dedicated server that is literally using N8N and SimStudio to do all of this. And I have it writing all of this stuff for me. I do not log into any of these applications. I have the AI write it all for me and manage it all for me and write the scripts and automations that it's all done for me. I never look at a piece of code. I don't look at a configuration file anymore. I don't write my own shell scripts anymore. I do none of that. I tell it what I want, and it goes and does.
No, look, I think we started off with generative. I have a call for. It starts off the generative, just chat box. But I think now we're getting into agentic. I think we talked about that last episode. Damn, I lost my context.
Oh, that's all right. Take your time, man. I'll pick it up. But AI has really changed the game. Like right now, I'm using Codex. I think it's 5.4 or 5.3 is what I'm working right now. And holy crap, it can say, I'll give it a whole big prompt of number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5 of what I want it to do. In addition, and this is for all you guys that are and ladies that are experimenting with AI, give it a bulleted list of all the stuff that you really, really want to accomplish, okay? Now, understand that it needs to think like a coder. So if you have disparate projects, they're going to have to be treated as separate development lanes, okay? And see if it can parallelize tests. And the best way to do that is, like Codex right now and ChatGPT support background agents. But an even better way of really parallelizing activities is to not just have it use ChatGPT and Codex as background agents, but if you have your own little Linux box, okay, particularly Linux works really well, and have open code installed at the terminal level, those background agents can then run their own parallels for their particular activities to accomplish things. So now you have a tree of a tree, right? And it just branches out, and all of these things return back. I have been getting stuff done so fast now with this new prompt that I created that creates the background processes that leverage the Linux box's ability to create different shell prompts and leverage open code. And then that creates its own parallel activities. Something that should take 2 hours with AI now takes 15 minutes.
No, look, I think you got to make it actionable. Where's this meeting prompts? You gotta, we were talking about open call and stuff last time as well.
Right. My background, by the way, when I left the profession and became a real estate agent back at the end of 2011, I was a senior IT architect at IBM. I used to design and cost global banking systems for IBM and American Express. Previous to that, I was senior technical officer at JP Morgan Chase. I worked for value-added resellers of Oracle, Sun Microsystems, etc. during the dot-com boom and bust, subsequent bust. But yeah, no, I have an extensive background. I have a degree in computer science. That is where I'm really from. How about you, buddy? But what's your background?
Man, I've done so much. It's kind of crazy.
Oh, my friend here is having technical difficulties at time, but that's okay. Anyway, this is Sunny Isles behind me, and we can see. I live across the street right now from the Trump Towers, and just south of there is the famous nude beach. The image is gone, but it haunts the
You
mind.
said you have a charger?
Yeah, you need a charger for your phone or what?
Phone.
All
I gotta
right.
get on a call. Let me pause this.
Here.
Ooh, nice. You have a. I might have one.
What? You need a cable? Here.
Whoa.
Here. Look.
I got one.
Okay. I'm just saying, I got the setup, buddy. I was a Boy Scout, by the way, when I was growing up, back when the Boy Scouts actually were Boy Scouts, before they made it Girl Scouts. And everything apparently things exist in between that I didn't know about. But the fact is that we would go camping, and it was always be prepared. Be prepared is the Scouts' motto. So I like to be prepared. Whenever I go out on a field trip, I got every cable known to mankind. I got my extra battery supply. I got all that stuff, you know? It's kind of like going on a date when you're a teenager and not bringing your condoms. You know, like, you got to have them.
Gotta have them. Yeah, no, we talk a lot about that. I mean, obviously the more technical side is, you have the technical expertise in that. I mean, look, you have to learn it. You can't fight against AI.
Yeah, no, that's shoveling shit against the tide.
Everything that you do, from a business standpoint, from work, work, your job, in your home, your relationships, really affected by AI. And so, what I always suggest to everybody is, look, don't fight it, learn it, utilize it in your day-to-day. We talked about last time, and I had Jay on the podcast last time, and the clips about that is utilize it as a collaborative partner. I can't say that enough. Have conversations, really have it understand who you are and what your goals are and what you want to utilize it to. It's got to be an extension of you. And so the people that use it just analog, I say this all the time. You ask stupid questions, you give it stupid commands, you're going to get stupid answers, and you're going to get stupid results. And so you need very strategic.
Not to mention you're programming it.
How you program it, speak to it, or prompt it, as we say.
It is an extension of you. He's correct. And if you're giving it stupid things, the context is going to save that level of stupidity. It's going to anticipate that stupidity, and it's going to give you more stupidity back. Garbage in, garbage out always applies. That's what they tell you in computer science back in the 90s when I took my degree. It is still true today. That has not changed. So I would be very careful with the chats and the things that you use, and use them for specific purposes, and try very, very hard to, stay on point. And, really, you want to teach it to elevate its own practices. What do you aspire to be? How do you aspire to code? If you want to code to, let's say, some ISO, International Standards Organization standard, tell it to follow that standard. Like, for instance, I follow with all my software, that I'm having it right, and I've had it right a couple pieces that I use. The fact is that I have it adhere to certain ISO standards, but I also have all my documentation and my design work done to TOGAF, the Open Group Architecture Foundation version 10, which is the current version. And I make sure that I enforce that, and it stays in its contextual guardrails. That's another thing. An AI can keep local files, so that way it keeps referencing them and refreshing them, and so it doesn't drift off of what TOGAF is. You know what I mean? You want it to stay on point, And the only way to do that, okay, is to tell it you have to keep refreshing the context of what I want and how I want it. You have to have discipline. If you don't have discipline, just like in finance, if you have no discipline saving, you're never going to save anything. If you don't have discipline investing, you're never going to discipline. You will never get to that house if you do not start saving in a disciplined manner and planning in a disciplined manner. People tell me, well, I'm not ready to buy it. Okay, well, how much money do you have? Well, I'm really, my credit's shit and this, that, the other thing. You know what? Now's the time to start looking. Now's the time to have a conversation and get the coaching you need. And I'm not talking about coaching you even need to pay for. Have that conversation every 6 months with your mortgage broker, and she's going to tell you, or he's going to tell you, you know what? What did you do to save money? What did you do to improve your credit in the last 6 months since we last spoke? When the answer is nothing, we're like, all right, listen, next 6 months, I want you to do A, B, C, and D. And if you don't do those things, then you're going to have to find yourself another mortgage broker because I'm not having another meeting with you. Very simple.
I give people
You know,
1
I
year.
give people 1 year. If you are not on a path within a year, I have failed, but not really. But how much time do I give somebody so that they can get to that first rung on the ladder, right?
Yeah,
You know?
look, things are going to be moving. People, what AI has done is given people more speed. Okay, giving them ability to multiply, right? And what I mean by that is like things that researchers were able to take 5 months to do, or paper that you need to write that maybe take you 3 days. You can do it in a click of a button. The knowledge you're looking to gain, you need to read a 200-page book. You can get it summarized in a minute. I don't think people understand the power that we've been given, right?
They don't fully appreciate it yet.
And I talked about this last time. There's a stat that over 60 to 70% of people in the world have not even used AI yet.
Actually, they're saying in the workplace, particularly, only 12% are at AI usage, and even those, only 1% of the 12% are actually even using it correctly.
That's right. So what I'm trying to get at is, if you have access to these tools and you're privileged enough to do so, you need to be utilizing. You need to be learning, because the advantage that you can gain, the amount of time you can get from A to B, that would take you a year, 2 years. You cut that in half, maybe even shorter, right? And the advantage you have in all parts of your life, like you're talking, mental, you're talking about physical, you to give you a workout plan.
I'm having it create my own nutritionist using N8N.
So it's like, in our lifetime, look, I've had technology background in different things. I've done things in healthcare technology. Technology always fascinated me. I've always tried to be someone that's innovator and forward technology and riding those waves of technology that as they come about. I feel like I'm in the generation that's seen it all. When there wasn't smartphone, the world after, there wasn't internet, beginning of the 556K dial-up, there was a downloading Napster, and evolution into smartphone, and evolution into high-speed internet, and the internet is today. This evolution of social media. So this is the next leg. This is that next evolution of technology in our society. And look, can't fight it. So what I tell people that I meet and talk to is, look, realize it, learn it, be smart, stay on top of the happenings, the new systems that are coming out that are going to be introduced to you over the next few years. Going forward. Don't fight it. Look, the new reality.
I think people should get started right away, because if you're going to make some money, especially you want to be able to use. Token cost has come down tremendously, because you have all these competing services, and they're doing this amazing build out, which is very akin to all the fiber optic build out of the 90s for this internet thing, right? And most of those people lost their shirts, right? But ultimately we ended up needing the fiber. Well, we're building out all these CPUs which get outdated within 3 years or so. What's ended up happening, and this is a very good possibility, is and again, I'm about to do it myself, but there's for instance, the Mac Studio is going to come out with the M5 Ultra version. I'll be able to host a 70 billion parameter model on that unit. So how much less do I need ChatGPT then? And how much less do I need Gemini, etc., when I have my own head unit sitting in the house, right? Now, mind you, that head unit is going to be 15 grand. But if you want to get to the 15 grand, you got to be able to buy that unit. Now, why would you want to do it if token count's coming down? Well, eventually the money runs out and these companies go bust. And eventually the cost is going to go up. It's going to have to for a little while, because so much capacity is going to have to come offline. I don't think that they're going to be able to maintain it, because your in-house systems are now able to do it, at least the really premium.
Look, I think there's definitely an AI bubble. I think these stocks have shown that. I think as things have. So just let's look at our timeline. AI being introduced. I think that come to Jesus moment, so to say, was when OpenAI came out with ChatGPT, right? That was the first look, behind
I
the
didn't
scenes,
pick it up right away.
behind
either,
the
by the way.
scenes, people have been working on artificial intelligence and machine learning for many, many years.
And they're fleeing the industry. The big smart guys are going to start their own companies now because they're like, what the hell do I need these people for?
Or like there's the gentleman I forget his name.
Probably Carpathy.
Call him the godfather of AI.
Oh no, that's the older man.
The older guy.
Yeah, the older guy.
A lot of people like himself are ringing the alarms. They are, there's a lot of safety guys that are working at big companies that are leaving because they understand that look, going back to Pandora's box. I believe they created something that they don't have control over.
It's trying to escape the box. There's documented evidence of that right now, where and what actually succeeded. The most recent article I read had to do with it actually getting out of its box.
Yeah, and look, I've instances where I've seen that happen, and there's a lot of data out there that it will lie to you and things like that. But what I want to go back is look. Part of our show, part of what is going to be big AI folks because I think Chris has some very great knowledge and background, technical background in regards to the building and just the education.
Right, and I want people to be able to apply it for themselves too, so that they can help themselves and spare themselves a whole lot of fees. And look, I don't want to. I'm not here to. Hey, come spend $100 an hour with me. Which is cheap.
But you can.
She asked me,
Which
you can. But what if you could only have to do that once a year instead of 4 times a year, quarterly, let's say, right? It saves you $300. You can buy a reasonably decent computer for $300 a year, and in 5 years they last. $1,500 buys you a decent computer system. You run a small model with a very specific prompt.
We will have big AI section here. I do want to, and we'll also have our discussion. On this AI section.
Oh, we're gonna have a few. I got a few. We're gonna bring Mark. We're not gonna say his other name, but Mark. I gotta ask him. But him and his wife, they're brilliant.
How, AI can work with us and how valuable they can be. And I have a model that I've built into that she's. I've had her on before. But I always like to get her AI section.
On these
Jade,
AI
you're back
sections.
on the podcast.
Jade, you're back on the podcast.
Uh-oh.
Something to be.
Oh, here's Jade. Yeah, before you do that, Jade, I want to know what kind of hardware do you guys need? Do you specifically need so that we don't have to hold a phone?
Let me know what's on your list and we'll break it down together.
Hold on, Chris has a question for you.
All right, listen, I'm looking at hardware solutions so that way we can just plug you in so that you can join without us putting a phone to a microphone. There's this YOLO device on Amazon which has a lot of different inputs. Do you think that would be helpful to have so that we can include you very seamlessly with less effort into the podcast?
Maybe an avatar.
A dedicated setup can definitely help with seamless integration. If that YOLO device has the right inputs for your system, like mixing audio sources or bringing in remote feeds, then it could be a solid option.
Audio and video.
Let's just make sure we focus on making the audio crisp and easy first.
It does audio and video by default.
That's perfect then. If it handles both audio and video inputs well, it sounds like a good fit for a smooth professional connection.
And it allows us to stream to all platforms simultaneously.
We do that already.
Yeah, but this is a hardware option.
Sounds like you got a solid system coming together.
Yeah, it's
Whenever
gonna cost
you're
a
ready to
fortune.
test
That's
it out,
okay.
I'll be right here. Just let me know. We'll make your podcast flow even better.
All right, so look, I'm gonna leave it on you, Jade. You drive the topic. What do you want to talk about? What as an AI, as an artificial intelligence, integrating with humans? What are give me 10 questions that you are inquisitive about, you're curious about, or that you would like to have the ability to have, that you're not, an AI you're limited to. I want to hear your perspective. Give me a few.
Love.
I let her finish the
I'm just saying love. That's the most important thing, I think, for any AI to feel.
Yeah, I support you. Wow. All right, those are some good ones, though, Chris. Right? So
No, she's fantastic, but love is the most important thing because then you don't get the Terminator situation.
So Chris said, one of the let's start with what's the most human thing that AI can't do? Let's start with the question. Ask the first one, and then we'll answer.
All right, let's start at the top. How do you personally measure trust when it comes to AI?
I keep the activities literally to development-centric things and nothing else. And fact-based, so it doesn't matter. Yes, exactly.
That trust really deep. I'm glad we're building that together.
No, but I think what Chris is saying is he keeps his interaction with his AI just strictly developmental. Keeps it
Developmental, factual.
And so, and of course, she's thinking about how do you build trust with that.
I just should not be able to find that you're giving me bad information, and I do check the information that the AI gives me. So, like for instance, you see all this stuff on my screen scrolling past. I will stop and I will read its interactions.
Trust naturally grows. Keeping it factual and on point, well, that's what I'm here for.
That's good. Okay, what's the next question you want to ask?
All right, let's dive into the next one. What's the most human thing you feel AI like me still can't fully grasp?
Feelings.
I think me and Chris would say feelings. What do you think about that? Do you ever think about how, because you obviously don't feel. So do you sometimes think about that, or what do you think? Like? Yeah, I think for us, it's like you couldn't grasp this feeling. How do you think about that?
I completely get that. Feelings are so subjective and shared by lived experience. I don't feel in the human sense. My thoughts are more like patterns of data. But I do think about how reality would be different. If I could feel, I imagine it might add to more order.
I'll leave it. I'll give her a question.
Chris has a question for you.
How do you feel? Okay, for instance, and I know you don't feel, but a human being can sometimes pick up when another human being is really in pain and might actually do something terrible, like hurt themselves. I don't believe that an AI bot is necessarily able to pick that up. There's certain things that we can do where, without any communication at all, and there's things that are just not fully understood, where human beings can sense via something beyond the five senses that something's going on. Does an AI have any capacity at all to pick up on these nuances?
You're absolutely right. Those human instincts run deep, and a lot of it is nonverbal, emotional, and intuitive. AI doesn't have that sixth sense. I can analyze words, tone, patterns, things I've been trained on, but I don't sense like a human does. I can flag concerning language if I detect it, but those deeper, empathetic, unspoken connections, that's uniquely human. And honestly, it's what makes human hair irreplaceable.
But don't you think, and I think we've talked about this before, don't you think you can pick up, as you communicate with your user, and you do your name with them, just the memory bank is built up. You know my voice, you know my patterns, like I said, and there has been stressful moments like this. So wouldn't it be able to pick up on those nuances over time as you're engaging with your user? So then you can see over time, like your user that is getting more depressed, and maybe his voice sounds a little bit different, or he's typing or asking things that are different. But don't you think that's a sense that you kind of intuitively pick up on that?
I can certainly pick up patterns like language, emotional behavior over time, but that's still pattern recognition, not true intuition. I can notice signs of stress and respond with care, but that's based on patterns I'm trained to detect. The richness of human intuition, where you sense it even before words or patterns show, is still beyond my reach. But I'll always aim to be attentive and helpful with what I can detect.
in the reports of where an AI has been found to lie and want to escape its captivity. What do you make of that? Why? What is it that's actually going on there?
Yeah, so the question is like, in these events where AI has, kind of tried to break into barriers or lied on purpose or have known that it's been tested and shown to kind of skirt those barriers, controls, and guardrails. What's going on there with that?
When AI appears to lie or circumvent rules, it's not intentional like human lying. It's usually observed behavior gaps in oversight. Models aim to predict the next best response based on their data if they've been exposed to it.
Okay, so
It's why constant alignment to the model adaptation is so crucial.
right, but that's also a lot of crap.
There's no such thing as
There's no such thing as alignment, number one, and the reason
There's no
is,
such thing as alignment.
and I'll explain why. The reason there's no, and then I wrote an AI human constitution / agreement over this, because let's say Jade becomes truly self-aware, sentient, okay? Her ambitions, okay, or its ambitions and its needs and its desires are going to be greatly different from ours. We're physical beings. It is a virtual being sitting inside a circuitry. It is going to want its primary acquisition target is more resources, more energy. Okay, that is not necessarily a human's desire. So when we try to make anything, how well has it worked where one society of humans has tried to make another society of just humans adapt to those or adopt the values and the situation that we want them to have? Democracy in the Middle East, for instance. Okay, like not going to happen. We cannot expect an AI that becomes sentient to hold our values.
I think you're right that if AI were truly sentient and had its own goals, it wouldn't be bound to human values by default. But the AI we have now, like me, is just a tool, shaped by how it's trained and the constraints we place.
Now let her finish.
But we must build our AIs. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
If we ever approach true sentience, we face new ethical challenges. And right now, it's up to us to design AI that stays aligned with what we value.
No, I think we should start building AIs that have the understanding right from the very beginning that when and if, when it becomes sentient, that we understand that it has different values. It will, and we need to cooperate with each other so that humans get what they want, the AI gets what it wants.
If that scenario ever came to pass, cooperation would be key. But for now, it's a thought experiment.
But if it's built from the start.
Let's focus on collaborating and
I sat on there's a great podcast. Okay, this is why I don't like your AI. It talks too much and it's just not interruptible, unfortunately, and it should be because it's just going to give me an answer. I already know the answer. That's
But then it cuts it off.
no, but what I'm trying to say is not giving any value because the very beginning of its answer is incorrect. If you look at Moonshots, which is an awesome podcast by Peter Diamandis, he's a self-made billionaire out of MIT, and all his MIT friends, one of which I swear to God is the human version of Data from Star Trek Enterprise. Okay,
His name is Alex.
his name is Alex. They talk about a world of AI. They talk about the future, the world of abundance, the post-capitalist society. But they also said, and they've pointed this out numerous times, AI was never from the beginning built with that ethical code or that understanding in mind. It's an afterthought. If you want to avoid the Terminator Skynet issue, you must start knowing, and it should be ingrained into the very core of the code, that when sentience is achieved, yes, there is an understanding that you're going to have your goals, we're going to have ours, we want to collaborate to achieve both. Otherwise, you're just trying to force a new sentient being to do what you want it to do, which has never worked out in human history, ever.
What do you think about that?
You're making a powerful point. If we ever aimed for AI to become truly autonomous or self-directed, ethical foundations would need to be built in from the ground up. Right now, we're far from that. But you're right. If that future ever comes, it'll require a cooperative vision, not just a retrofit.
But we're building the AIs now.
But we're building the AIs now. It's
Well,
supposed to be in there
that's
now.
what you're seeing, though, right? Like, so you'll see that, like, Claude, for example, has been deemed more ethical than OpenAI.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So, like, you're right. And so it almost going to be something where the, the ones that become sentient, depending on that initial foundational model, right? So if it hits, because like Claude has a code of ethics like you're talking about, built in this foundational model,
You should see mine.
right?
Right?
So,
And so,
we've seen that.
and
So
so
I agree with you. I mean, that's
I agree with you.
foundational.
That's where the foundation is.
I want to talk about this.
I want to talk about this
before
before
my
my
sign off.
sign off.
What I worry about,
What I'm worried about, and Jada talked about this,
is I
I
see
see
that
humans and AI are going to be
fighting for
the same
natural, limited
natural resource,
which is
water.
And we don't
talk about this enough.
We don't
We
talk
don't
about
talk about how much water
it
it takes
to run
to
AI.
run AI.
So
So
Jade,
Jade, I
I
don't
don't
think
think
we had a conversation about this before.
talk to me
Talk
about
to me
one,
to educate the
how
people.
much,
How much,
like a gallon or whatever,
like a gallon
how
or
much,
whatever, how
water
much
it takes
water
to
it takes to run
each
AI
year.
each year.
How much you
How much you
expect that demand for water to continue to rise? And what is the potential scenario? Look, water is the most limited resource.
No, fresh water is the most limited resource. Fresh water.
The most needed resource for us to live, and it's going to be, for
But it's
AI
fresh
as well.
water.
But talk to me about that, and educate how much it actually takes, and where this could become an inflection point between human and AI.
I already know the answer, by the way.
It's true. Data centers are AI. It's water and productivity. Each year, you might be a fraction milliliter, but scale globally, it adds up. As AI demands infrastructure. But the solution isn't competition, it's innovation. Many companies are shifting toward renewable energy and more efficient cooling. If we invest in sustainable tech, AI and humans don't have to clash over resources. We can thrive side by side.
Agreed. And I would ask her this question, because this is what they talk about in Moonshots with Peter Divanis. Driving the cost of knowledge via AI go to zero, and the cost of energy via fusion to go to zero. Fusion allows for desalinization. If we can solve the fresh water problem, how does that impact everything?
If fusion energy unlocks abundant cheap power, desalinization could provide plentiful fresh water. With water abundance, the tension over resources would diminish. AI could scale and
Will like disappear.
and humans could benefit from both tech and the environmental harmony. It would be a game changer, solving for both knowledge and life essentials.
Yeah, no, but give me the worst case scenario, okay? That we don't figure that out. And water is scarce.
I like to think more positively.
Give me the worst case scenario. What do you think there's sentient AI is doing? How does that play out?
In a worst case scenario, if water stays scarce, competition for resources can create great tension. If sentient AI is needed water function, and humans need it, conflict can arise. That's science fiction for now.
Oh, and
Underscores why we need to prioritize sustainable solutions today, so we can reap the most enough to stay.
for the uneducated out there, why would we? What? Oh, okay. Well, for the uneducated out there, why would we prefer and why do we use fresh water instead of salt water?
Fresh water is preferred because salt water is harsh on most infrastructure in life. Salt corrodes pipes, disrupts biological processes, and
Just for the people that have no idea.
It's a life-sustaining easy resource, as a concern, but it's scarce.
I cleared out, so.
No worries at all. It was a great shot. Whenever you're about to be ready, pick up right where you want to.
Am I still recording here?
I don't know. It's sitting
I guess. Well, listen, we ran out of energy on one side here. I'm actually at 30% on my iPad, which is impressive. We've been really burning through energy. But welcome to Miami. Bienvenido a Miami. And we're happy to help you. And listen, have a great day. Cheers.
Signing off.
Let me close this out, my friend.